Hello, my name is Kiriath, and today we're going to do some more wild speculation because we've had the LVO. We did a little bit of prediction. I say prediction, not really prediction, just random crap that might show up at that particular event. And for the most part, it was largely incorrect, the stuff that I talked about, which I kind of assumed would be the case and did say in the video. But no sooner has LVO come to a close than we have a teaser for Adepticon. Now, Adepticon isn't until March the 25th, I believe. I should know that because I just looked at it, but it's fine. It's not for a little while, but they've already decided to do a little bit of hype, a little bit of a build-up. So, on the Adepticon website, you can see this. It's the biggest Warhammer preview ever. I'm assuming ever is in context to Adepticon itself and not just to Warhammer as a whole, but you never know. And what it says is the following. I knew it, 25th of March. Said it was that. So, 5 things you need to know about the Warhammer preview. It's the biggest Warhammer preview ever, is what they claim. So more of you will be able to attend this Warhammer preview live than ever before, but that's not the half of it. We have so much cool stuff to show you in this preview that's going to blow your mind. Number 2 is that there is so much stuff. Yeah, you can see the general tone of this. It's fine. There is so much new shiny excitement to cram into this preview that we reckon you'll have 2 hours of new Warhammer coming at you. You may want to take notes. So, interesting. It's for every Warhammer fan, so obviously including Age of Sigmar and Warhammer 40k, and Blackstone Fortress and Warcry, although we would expect that anyway at this point, to be honest. So it goes beyond the tabletop, so there's stuff about exciting ways you'll be seeing Warhammer on your screen soon. In fact, you'll be the first person in the world outside of the creators to see some of that. That especially is quite interesting to me. And it's free, but you need a ticket. So the 5th one is, if you're attending, then yeah, you will need a ticket to see it, although the tickets don't cost. That doesn't really apply to those of us at home because we have the internet, so we're fine. So, what can we possibly do but do a nice bit of speculation, a bit of wild guesswork as to what we might see from the biggest Warhammer preview ever for Adepticon? To be honest, one of the first things that kind of like comes to mind for me is there was a particular thing that was lacking from the LVO reveals. And I know that for a lot of people it was a positive thing that it was lacking, but it was Marines. There was no real talk of Marines there. There was no sort of Space Marine reveals. There was nothing of the kind. Adepticon, should this prove to be indeed the biggest Warhammer reveal ever, I feel like they would be involved in some way, let's be honest. And we do have that fantastically pixelated image that we saw late last year, early this year, one of the two, whereby it looks like there's some sort of speeder arrangement, some kind of Primaris speeder arrangement, what looked a bit like a new configuration of Repulsor, and at least the possibility of new Space Marine bikes. Now, of course, the Space Marine bikes, there's still a bit of contention as to whether they are just the old bikes, but photographed in such a way that, it being so pixelated, they look a bit different, or whether they are new units. To be honest, it could go either way, but a little part of me feels like, in the grand scheme of replacing a lot of the traditional Space Marine line, bikes are going to be in there at some point, along with close combat Primaris. Now, of course, March is a good couple of months away, and we have heard rumours again of more Primaris units to come. We have heard rumours of close combat Primaris, which are due to drop roughly about the middle of the year. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a reveal a bit before that, which, again, Adepticon could be the place for that reveal. Similarly, if we are looking towards the Psychic Awakening series, we've got the Greater Good up next, which looks to be Tau Genestealer cults, and Death Guard. Although the Death Guard thing is a little bit strange because there's been a new teaser from the Warhammer community site that actually doesn't have Death Guard in it, but does seem to suggest that there is some sort of Imperium presence instead. So perhaps Imperial Guard for that instead. Now, assuming that the Greater Good comes out in like the next month, during February, we can expect there to be some sort of reveal for the Saga of the Beast during Adepticon. To be honest, if you're going to show off something for the Saga of the Beast for that sort of rough timescale, then Ghazghkull is a pretty good bet for that particular event. I mean, revealing a brand new model for Ghazghkull in its entirety, as opposed to the teaser that we got, to align with the release of the Saga of the Beast, that would be a pretty good point to do it, especially if you highlighted who the orcs are going to be fighting against, which we already are pretty sure is going to be Space Wolves. If it was the Saga of the Beast and Space Wolves weren't involved, someone has been messing about with names in such a way that they've been doing it in a silly way, because how would you not have Space Wolves versus Orcs with a Saga of the Beast? So we could well see the new Ghazghkull, and we could well see the reveal of like a new Space Wolves character, either one that has been upgraded to Primaris, perhaps Ragnar being upgraded to Primaris, or indeed an entirely new Space Wolves character, which both are possible. I mean, you know, we've had examples of characters being ascended, you know, beloved characters, or at least important characters, depending on how you look at it. We've had like Tigerius and Marnius Calgar both ascended to be Primaris. We've had Mephiston ascended to be Primaris, but for the Imperial Fists, for instance, Lysander was not ascended. Instead, we've got Tor Garadon, and for the Salamanders, we have the new character in the form of Adrax Agaton. So it's a 50-50 split for me on whether they will take someone new or someone who already existed for the Space Wolves and give them the Primaris treatment. The thing is, that's all Marine stuff, which I know might rub a few people up the wrong way, because we've had a lot of Primaris reveals, we've had a lot of just generally Space Marine based stuff for quite a while, but those to me are some of the biggest things that they could reveal. You know, entirely new Primaris units that again are kind of doing the slow replacement of the standard Space Marine line. If you're going to show off like another variant of the Repulsor, a speeder type vehicle, and bikes, all three of those would be pretty big things to drop at the same time, or roughly around the time of another Psychic Awakening book. Obviously, there are a few things for the greater good that we still need to see, but I feel like the greater good is going to be here well before Adepticon even hits. You know, in terms of Psychic Awakening as a whole, it strikes me as far more likely we'll get something around that time related to Saga of the Beast than anything else. Perhaps Engine War could be around there, but again, I feel like Saga of the Beast lines up a little bit better. I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong, but that's generally the feeling I get at the moment. Outside of that, it's difficult to know. I mean, of course, there is going to be stuff for Age of Sigmar. They've said there will be, including Blackstone Fortress and Warcry as well on top of those. Age of Sigmar is a bit trickier to keep some sort of finger on the pulse of, just because not involved in that side of the community for the most part. But there was a rumour ages ago. There was someone gave me some very good information about some stuff we were seeing for 40k on the horizon in 2020. Among which was the comment that knight equivalents would end up being in Age of Sigmar. So, giant units that were, you know, kind of branched across various factions were going to be a thing at some point. So I keep waiting to see if that happens. I don't have a huge amount of information on that, unsurprisingly. That's all I've got. But, I mean, it would certainly be a big thing to know. Warcry is just going to get, endless warbands as it is, I think. The system is doing well for them. The actual warbands themselves are very well received for the most part. I don't think I've seen anyone really complaining about the style or substance of any of them. They seem to be pretty damn popular. And of course now they can be played in Age of Sigmar proper, which I like on the one hand and don't like on another. I like the fact that, of course, you've got multiple uses for these models, which is never a bad thing. But on the other hand, each warband is so unique, and there are some truly unique and interesting sculpts in them that doubling up on them looks a bit weird. They're also, with the monopose kind of nature of them, a little bit tricky to customize. So, on the one hand, good. On the other hand, looks a little bit strange. In terms of Blackstone Fortress, frankly, they could throw anything at us for that. I mean, Blackstone Fortress, we've had Traitor Guard, we've had Traitor Commissars and a Traitor Ogren. We've had, the oh my god, my brain is just so mush. The Men of Iron. I keep thinking Zote, because we've had a Zote recently announced, an actual Zote. It's there, it's a thing, it exists. There is a Zote present. they can just throw anything at us, and there's no way to predict what it's going to be. I mean, you could be like, we're going to tease the next Blackstone Fortress thing, and there would be no clue until it actually happened, because it could be literally anything from the entire history of 40k Rogue Trader, like Rogue Trader, and anything beyond there. Things that we might not see for years could show up in Blackstone Fortress now, and it would just be a case of, sure, great, nice, okay, but what the hell? I feel like it's got that vibe to it. Outside of that, we've got the media side of things. I mean, I'm assuming we're going to see some more stuff for Angels of Death. I don't know what else they might show, unless they've made some progress on, say, like the Eisenhorn series or something. Maybe the announcement of a new project that we don't know of yet. I'm assuming the whole thing is going to be preceded by the new like sting they've got, their new kind of ident for Warhammer branded things. It's going to be interesting, because it feels like there's been a few pretty sizable reveals. I would argue that the AdMech stuff we saw from the LVO was pretty damn big. I mean, entirely new units for that army. We've got, as I say, we've got the stuff for Engine War. We've got the rumours of the second codex for the Adeptus Custodes, so we might see units for those. If I remember the shipping information correctly, that codex is due to drop roughly around that time, so if they're going to get some new units, again, Adepticon would be the place to show it off. Quite a lot of stuff on the horizon. There is a lot of stuff on the horizon, both rumoured and stuff we know is happening. And with talk of like, oh, the biggest one ever and 2 hours worth of Warhammer stuff, really it's kind of anyone's guess as to how big and how significant it's going to be and what we're going to get out of it. But it's going to be interesting. And we do have to wait a while. I mean, 25th of March, so you got like 2 months essentially from this point. But hopefully it'll be worth the wait, and it'll be interesting to see what we get. Let me know what your best guesses are for the massive, apparently, reveals for Adepticon this year. As I say, 25th of March, so keep an eye out. Put it in your calendar if you want. You don't have to. You'll probably find out soon enough when it's coming up, because more of this will happen just everywhere as a whole. So yeah, let me know what you're expecting, what you think we might see, what you would like to see, you specifically, you personally would love to see, and what you could probably do without. And yeah, let me know what you think in the comments down below. In the meantime, feel free to click all the things, Patreon, video, subscribe, all that stuff. Click it if you like, don't click it if you don't want to. And as always, there's an affiliate link in the description for Element Games. If you buy stuff from there, I get something for sending you that way. You save a bunch of money because it's way cheaper than buying from Games Workshop. 10% of anything you spend goes to charity at the end of the month. It's just a nice way to support the channel by buying the shit you were going to buy anyway. But of course, it's totally up to you. I leave it in your very capable hands. I trust you. And I will see you for the next one. Toodaloo.